Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review, and this one has been long overdue. A few of you have requested it. It's the Convoy S8 with the new SFT-25R LED, and the reason this one is quite popular is you've got this round LED, as you can see in there. The die surface is completely round, so there's pretty much no artifacts. It produces a really nice long-range beam. And, you know, a lot of people have asked me also to compare it with the SFT-40. So at the end of this video, I'll also have some beam shots comparing it to the S6 here. Just trying to get it to focus. The S6 here to the left, which is pretty much the same host, you know, the same reflector, same driver. So a lot of you would know that the S8 is one of my favorite Convoy hosts. I think it's the perfect size to just fit in your pocket. It takes an 18650 cell, so you're not going to have that battery anxiety. And it also comes with a few little creature comforts that sometimes don't come with Convoy lights, especially this clip here. You know, you've got a crenulated bezel, you get a lanyard, but mainly this sort of clip. I think that's so important if you're actually carrying a light around with you. And yeah, this is the 12 mode grouping option, 8 amps also for the SFT-25. And, you know, having tested this out already, you know, I've tested it out on the 50% mode grouping and also 100%. And I didn't actually find a huge difference between both of those modes. I think it was 417 meters versus 472 meters, but you'll see later on in the video, I'll bring that up. But let's have a look at what you get in the box. So obviously you get the S8 itself, you get the clip. Now you don't get a battery unless you order one. Okay, so that's I think this is an EVE 35V cell, so it should be rated up to 10 amps, which I think you're going to need in a light with an 8 amp buck driver like this. And you do get a little box, you know, it comes in this little box. It's pretty simple. It has some, you know, a bit of writing here telling you what's in it. So 8 amp buck driver, 6500K. You know, I like that Convoy don't have sort of fancy boxes because it just saves on advertising. So yeah, I had kind of compared it to the S6 before, so you can see it's pretty much, you know, pretty much the same size. But in terms of the LED, you can see that the actual LED is a lot, you know, the die surface, the SFT-40 is a lot smaller than the SFT-40. So that's gonna increase that throw. And I've also got the Convoy T6, a new model that Convoy have released recently. And it also has pretty much the same head, and except this is a 5 amp driver in it compared to this 8 amp buck driver. So you're going to get slightly reduced brightness with this 5 amp model. But yeah, actually testing them together, I didn't find a huge difference. Of course, you do get some extra, a lot more runtime on the S8 though. So I keep a little spreadsheet on my computer to record down the results of all these tests, and I want to just do something a bit different today and just go through the S8, the Convoy S8 host that I've tested in the past. So this one here, you can see 472 meters of throw at its highest point. I've got also the S8 with the CSL PM1 F1 8 amp buck driver, got 592 meters of throw. So yeah, looks like the PM1, so the Osram W1 and Osram W2 emitters do get a little bit more range, just the green versions though. So if we have a look further back here, you know, the S8 with the W5050 SQ3, 410 meters, so it definitely beats the 5050 SQ3. And got the SFT-40 here, big difference, so 379 meters compared to, you know, 479 meters, I think it was before. So another extra 100 meters with the SFT-25. And here's a surprising result as well, CSL PM1.TG, which is generally a really throwy white LED. You can see here 419 meters of throw. So, you know, you get 470 plus meters of throw with the SFT-25. I don't see why you would want the this is the PM1 TG. So yeah, it definitely outperforms the PM1 TG. I think there's an NM1. Let's have a look here. There's an NM1 TG. No, that's the PM1 TG. PM1.F1. Okay, yeah. That one there is Osram W2 with the green. So, you know, these green Osram W1 and W2 emitters, they really throw a huge distance compared to, the actual die surface. But yeah, I really am quite impressed with the overall results. I mean, 472 meters. All right, so here's a little close-up of the Convoy S8 for those of you who may not be familiar with this host. And I really like the design of it. It's a kind of military style design. And yeah, the finish is, look, it's between shiny and matte black. I like that there's a good amount of knurling here because the anodizing is a little bit slippery. You've got these cutouts on the head and also this crenulation as well, which you could potentially use to break a window. And yeah, clip on the side as well, lanyard hole. Some people like to attach these sort of screw-on clips, so a couple of screws go in there and they just attach straight like that so that the light goes all the way into your pocket up to that point. So the clip that Convoy includes is, yeah, it's not a deep carry clip, but it's going to do you pretty well. I mean, if you have that in your pocket, it's just going to be easy to grab it out. But yeah, if you want to keep it hidden in your pocket, this is not the best clip for that. The construction is pretty good for what you pay for. I mean, it's pretty much a bargain. Can't complain there. And you've got a tail switch on the back there with the rubber boot. It does tail stand because the boot is does not go beyond these actual lips here on the side. And here we have another close-up under the bezel, so you can see that round die surface of the SFT-40. And you've also got a glass lens there on the front. There's O-rings sealing this light on all these sort of opening areas. There's not a proper IPX rating, but I have taken this out in the rain, submerged it very briefly in the sink, and haven't had any issues. Okay, so the Convoy website is currently not available. They're on the Chinese New Year break, but you can see here, you can select the SFT-25R there. Couple of color options. I got the 6500K model. If you want a warmer version, there's 5000K available. And you can see there's a bunch of different drivers that you can choose from. So you've got the 8 amp buck driver, 5 amp buck driver, 5 amp 12 group linear driver, and 5 amp 4 mode linear. Kind of hard to read that through the strikeout. So yeah, from what I found, and you would have seen just in the test before, but I'll go through it a little bit later. The difference between the 5 amp and the 8 amp isn't, I just don't think that it's significant enough to warrant getting that 8 amps. So yeah, I've got the version with the 8 amp 12 group buck driver. And I think, honestly, given the tests that I've run, there's not a huge difference between running the SFT-25R in this light on the 5 amp versus the 8 amps. So yeah, I'd probably go with one of the 5 amp drivers if you don't want the light getting too hot. You can also add a battery in there as well. There is also here a bunch of grouping options, so you can actually go through and find the different grouping options. So yeah, the 12 mode one here, you can see I actually use this third group here. So from, goes from 100%, 35%, 10%, 1%, 0.1%. So every time I turn the light on, it goes to 100%, which is what I like. But there's also a 50% grouping option as well that you can choose. And that's just going to make sure that the light doesn't stay too hot while using it. I think there's a 35% one as well. No, there's not. So that's the other. Yeah, that's the other model, I think, other mode that is very useful. So yeah, changing into these different modes is pretty simple, but yeah, you have to take a bit of time to do it sometimes. Basically need to follow the instructions here, press the tail cap 20 times, and you can enter into that mode grouping. So yeah, just a quick demonstration of the UI. Basically, press that tail switch all the way to turn on, and then you half press to switch modes. And of course, there is an ability to go in there, like I mentioned before, and change the groupings so you have different modes when you turn the light on and off. I really like the simplicity of just having that one switch, half press sort of mode. You can turn the memory mode on and off as well if you want it to always start at the first mode in each grouping. So here are a bunch of ceiling bounce tests that I ran with the Convoy S8 with the SFT-25R 100%. And you can see here, this is of course with the 8 amp model that I have. There is a pretty steep step down straight away. So yeah, basically for about 30 seconds, you might get between 80 to 100% of output. Further on to that point, it just starts to step down, and by the 2-minute mark, you can see it's roughly on about 50%. Now it goes up a little bit and then it just drops down again after the 4-minute mark, but yeah, you're on about 50%. Here's another ceiling bounce test that I ran on the 35% mode, and you can see here it starts off at 100% and just dips a little bit down to about 95% for the duration of the test. So here are the tests that I ran with my Opal Light Master Pro just to measure the range of the light, and you can see on 100% mode I got 472 meters. Now the interesting thing is that when I stuck it on the 50% mode grouping, I got 415 meters. So that's really not much difference considering that it's only using 50% power. I'm wondering if other people have got the same results. It'd be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure the driver is running at the 8 amps, and yeah, whether it actually on the 50%, how much power it's actually drawing. But I think that's pretty accurate given that when I tested my Convoy S8 right next to my Convoy T6 with the same SFT-25R, they had very similar throw, so very similar ranges. So it seems that the SFT-25R must kind of max out around that 5 to 6 amp setting. So a few considerations to keep in mind if you're thinking of getting the Convoy S8. There's no onboard charging, so this is pretty common with a lot of these smaller Convoy flashlights. So you need to get an external 18650 battery charger. You can also get an 18650 battery with a charging port attached to it. I use those when I go traveling as well, so I don't have to carry around an extra charger. You also need to buy a battery with this light when you get it, so it doesn't come with a battery. But yeah, they're pretty cheap. You can get them from the Convoy website for like $2-3. The third consideration is that it does produce a good amount of spill, but yeah, if you're looking for a real floody sort of light, this isn't the type of light for you. You're going to have to get another emitter in there just with a bit more floodiness, maybe an SST-40 or something like that, but this produces a really long range spot beam. But surprisingly, the amount of flood I think is good enough anyway for most purposes. The fourth consideration is that the S8 does get pretty hot when you leave it in 100% mode. Even on the 35% mode, if you leave it there, it gets pretty warm, I have to say. But on that 100% mode, if you leave it on for a long time, you can really feel the battery tube around here heating up a lot. So yeah, if you're holding onto it, it's probably going to be better. But yeah, I find that you're not gonna want to leave it on that 100% mode for too long. But it's good to know that you've got that maximum performance where you need it. I think the Convoy S8 with the SFT-25R is one of the perfect combinations that you can get with this model. Before, I was a big fan of the Osram W2s, so the white Osram W2s. But yeah, with the SFT-25, it's going to outperform. It's going to produce more light and produce a nicer beam, larger hotspot. So yeah, I think this is a really good one to get, especially if you're just starting out, maybe looking for a throwy flashlight, long-range flashlight that also produces a ton of light. I mean, this is really the best of both worlds. Some people still prefer that SFT-40. It does produce more light, but yeah, slightly more light. But I still think that, the SFT-25 is a bit of a game changer for people who love long-range flashlights. So yeah, if you're interested in getting one of these, go ahead and check the link in the video description. I'll pop a link there to the Convoy website. If you have questions as well, because I've probably missed out on anything here or there, just let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, do me a favor, click the like button, share it with someone who might be interested. It just helps me to grow my channel. And yeah, if you want to see more flashlight reviews and keep up to date with the latest news, make sure you subscribe. All right, Convoy S8, SFT-25R, and this is on 100%. Wow. Pretty impressive. Now this is the 8 amp buck driver, quite easily illuminating everything out the back. Lots of throw, and this is the 35% mode. It's picking up some animal there. 10%, 1%, and 0.1%. Okay, back to 100% again. And what I'm going to do is compare it to the right side, which is the SFT-40 in the Convoy S6. So basically, almost the same configuration. It's the same reflector. But yeah, this is a 5 amp version of the SFT-40. So you can see straight up already the left side here, the SFT-25R, you know, it's got significantly more throw. You can even see just in the center there, comparing the two hotspots, the SFT-25R is significantly brighter. And I mean, if I'm just comparing the light from both of them, it's really hard to tell which one is actually brighter, creating more light, because you see the spill patterns, they're very similar. Maybe the SFT-25R is producing a little bit less, slightly less light. But if you just have a look at this tree here, you can see with the SFT-25R, it's illuminating that tree a lot better than the SFT-40. So there is a significant difference in my opinion. The hotspot of the SFT-40 is probably a little bit larger, maybe a tiny bit larger. It could just be an illusion, 10% larger or so. Okay, now both of these lights have been on for a fair bit now, and you can see, you know, that after step down, you know, you get significantly more, you know, significantly more candela with that SFT-25, more apparent in person. Put them both down to this is both on the 35% mode. Even on 35% it's doing very well. Yep, and compared to that SFT-40. Yep, for me, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'd get the 25, just that little bit extra, significantly more throw really, and more, you know, defined hotspot compared to the SFT-40. I'm going to compare the S8 with the SFT-25R to my Convoy M2 with the Osram W2, and yeah, you can see just due to that larger reflector, significantly larger reflector, you're going to get a lot more, you know, a lot more candela. But I mean, it's keeping up, that's for sure, considering the bezel size is so much smaller on the S8. And it is producing a larger hotspot as well.